Hello there. I am so glad you're here right now. Whether this was sent to you by a friend, a mentor, or just stumbled on it because you're searching for something more in your career, welcome. This isn't going to be your typical career workshop. It's raw, it's real, and it's built to help you finally take back control. So grab your pen and download your Satori in Action Workbook and maybe grab a coffee because we're going all in. Let's begin. Now, I've sat across thousands of capable people who are stuck, not because they lack potential, but because they lack clarity. And maybe that's you too. It's not that you're not talented. Goodness, you know you've got what it takes. But clarity, that's the thing that feels just out of reach sometimes, doesn't it? My name is Khanh. I'm going to walk you through the exact roadmap that's helped individuals, leaders and teams, and even myself break out from the waiting game and finally create alignment, confidence and purpose. The Satori attitude is a strategy with soul, structure, with flow, a system that meets you where you are and moves with you as you grow. This framework was forged in two places: in the fire of the talent world, where I've been for the past 25 years of recruiting, coaching and leadership development across startups and global teams, and in my blood, passed down from my parents who escaped Vietnam by boat, a sailing boat, seeking freedom with nothing but grit, faith, and an unshakable sense of purpose. I'll let you in on a secret. Long before it was actually a framework, it was just survival mode for us. Unbeknownst to them, they were teaching me the Satori attitude long before I had a language for it. They taught me self-belief when the world said stay quiet, awareness of who I am and where I come from, and how to turn hardship into strengths and fear into action. Now I teach this philosophy to everyday people, leaders, entrepreneurs, people just like you, figuring it out as they go. Everyday people who are ready to stop playing small and start living with alignment, conviction and power. This isn't just a strategy, it's my story, and now it gets to be yours too. Now, you don't need another tool, you need a roadmap, you don't need more advice, but you do need a strategy that actually works, and that's what the Satori attitude is. It's a roadmap that was born out of survival, refined into a strategy. This is how you move from stuck to being unstoppable. If you've ever felt like you were meant for more but trapped in a role or a path or even identity that no longer fits, you are in the right place. And hey, if that's hitting a little close to home right now, good. It means you're exactly where you need to be. I've coached people through career crisis, burnout, transition, and reinvention. And I've also helped teams and leaders unlock what's already inside them, their strengths, their clarity and fire. And what I'm sharing with you today, it's not theory, it's lived experience. If you don't know yet, I was a boat refugee. My parents didn't know the name for what they were living through, but they taught me Satori through sheer survival. Now I teach it as a strategy. The Satori attitude is a badass mindset, an actionable roadmap that helps you own your story, even the messy parts. Discover what drives you, aka your Ikigai. Turn your natural talents into true strengths. Create opportunities that leverage your strengths. Reimagine your future and take radical action unapologetically. It's the missing link between knowing your potential and living it. It's made up of 6 stages. S for self-belief, A for awareness, T for talents and strengths, O opportunities, R reimagine, and I implement. This framework applies to any area of life, but today we're using it to activate your career well-being, which is all about doing work that doesn't suck. And yes, you've got a workbook to follow along, so please grab the Satori in Action worksheet now if you haven't already. The truth is, most people aren't thriving in their career. They're just surviving. Did you know that about 80% of people are disengaged at work? Most hiring decisions are made emotionally, not logically. So if you are neurodivergent, or a parent returning from leave, a quiet achiever who doesn't perform confidence, or maybe just someone who just doesn't quite fit the traditional mold, you've probably felt invisible. Now, that's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to learn how to navigate it so that you get unstuck. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, especially when you are walking into an interview or a salary negotiation. Unconscious bias is already in there waiting for you. You are being judged not just on what you say, but how you say it, how fast you respond, the vibe that you give out. And in those first 30 seconds, a hiring manager might already decide you are not the right fit without even actually realizing they're doing it. But when you apply the Satori attitude, you position yourself with clarity and confidence. You reduce the risk of being misjudged, and you are educating others on your value without having to defend it. So the Satori attitude gives you the words, the presence, and the strategy to stand in your power. Now look, you can't eliminate unconscious bias entirely, but you can outsmart it, and this is how you take power back. I just want to pause here for a sec and ask you this question. Have you ever been overlooked even though you were clearly the most qualified person in the room? I want to talk about the emotional decision making that we all do. We've all been told to stick to the facts in interviews or negotiation. But here's what Daniel Kahneman's research revealed. By the way, he's a Nobel Prize winner. Kahneman's 70% emotional stat blew my mind. Did you know only 30% of our decision makings is rational and the other 70%? The rest, emotional, energy, vibe, trust, that changes everything about how you show up, especially when it comes to your career. Let's say you are in a job interview or negotiating a salary. Sure, things like your experience, the role title, the package, those are important. That's the rational part. But what actually tips the scale? How confident and grounded you are in your story, how the hiring manager feels you, whether they can see you thriving in the team, whether they believe you'll bring positive energy and leadership, how you make them feel about choosing you. Same for salary negotiation. Yes, market rates matter. But if they feel you are worth it because you've built trust, shown value, and carry yourself with belief, they'll stretch that offer not because of what's on paper, but because of what they feel you are worth. That's why at Satori, we don't just help people find their strengths. We help you own them because the energy you bring is your greatest influencing tool. Bias is real and it affects who gets called back, who gets promoted, who gets labeled leadership material. Look, you can't always change the system, but when you apply the Satori attitude, you learn to shift perception, reclaim your narrative, and reduce the bias working against you. Gallup's research, which I think is a little bit conservative, what they've discovered is that we spend around 81,369 hours at work. The only thing we spend more time doing is sleeping. Another research claims that it's about 115,000 hours in a lifetime. And right now in the workplace, 60% of people are emotionally detached. 19% are actively miserable. Yes, we've normalized burnout, boredom, and being underpaid and undervalued. So if you're going to spend 81,000 hours or even 115,000 hours at something, it better be something that lights you the hell up. So the data says there's only about 21% that are thriving, which means they love what they do and living out their best possible life. Where are you right now? Are you emotionally detached, miserable, or are you thriving at work? Strengths is your unfair advantage. Here's what most people don't get. You don't need to fix weaknesses. Why? Because weakness fixing can never lead to true strengths. Let's say if you suck at maths like I do, I'm not a numbers person, I use a calculator for everything. It doesn't matter how much effort and time I put into learning more about maths and trying to do it all on my own, I can never get as great as someone who is naturally born with numbers like my husband is. He can do maths equation on the top of his head. It doesn't matter how much I try, I'm never going to be as good as my husband because he's just naturally wired that way to be incredible with numbers. And that's what I mean by weakness fixing can never lead into true strengths, because you're either born with it or not. When you work from your strengths, what we like to call your genius zone, you stop pretending, you stop grinding in the wrong direction, and you start building a career where you are not just surviving, but you are thriving and you are happy. Your strengths aren't nice to know. They're your edge, your leverage, your damn advantage. Here's something I want you to ponder on. What do people always thank you for, but you sort of just brush it off as if it's no big deal? That is your strengths in action. It's so easy for us to identify and see someone else's strengths in action, but so difficult for us to see our own strengths. And so this is why the Satori attitude exists. This is why Decoding Your Strengths, which is a 7-week program that deep dives into your core 5 Clifton strengths. That's why it exists, is because of this very statement. It helps you articulate what makes you brilliant and bring all of that to surface, so then you can really name, claim, and aim your superpowers. And not just that, but by naming, claiming, and aiming what makes you brilliant, that is you now shifting your focus to just doing the things that you know you will excel in and do well. Think about it. The more you do things that inspire you, that energizes you, you're going to want to do more of that because you are in a happy state. If you continue down the path of fixing your weaknesses, you're getting frustrated, you're getting annoyed, you are getting so much negative charge that it just makes you want to not even deal with the day. And the issue with the system is that we've been told to try to do more of the things and be better at the things that we are not, instead of how about identifying the things that light us up and that we are actually really good at and do more of that. I mean, doesn't that just make more sense? Success isn't luck or privilege or some magical formula reserved for the chosen few. It's an equation, one that you control. In the world of Satori, it looks like this. Your attitude is the X factor. It is the multiplier that determines whether you rise or fall, thrive or just survive. You can have all the skills in the world, but if your mindset is weak, you'll never play big. The world doesn't pay for average, it pays for excellence. And that comes from doubling down on what you do best, your strengths. Strengths equals talents plus skills plus knowledge. Talents, that's your natural ability that sets you apart. You are born with it, so leverage it. Skills, what you develop through effort, repetition, and practice. Knowledge, they're the insights, the lessons and wisdom that refine your edge. Learn, adapt, dominate. Why this equation works like a power boost? Weak attitude equals wasted potential. Average strengths equals average life. Strong attitude plus strengths in action That's how you win. This is how top performers, elite leaders, and the most fulfilled people in the world operate. They don't just rely on talents, they fuel it with belief, resilience, and action. Own the equation, own your life. Meet Dieter. He was stuck in traditional finance, soul sapped, directionless, knowing something had to change but unsure how. So together we worked through the steps that now makes up the Satori attitude. He didn't just pivot, he transformed. He moved from hating his job to joining eBay as a Six Sigma black belt focused on customer engagement, being the voice for the customer. Today, he's one of the most sought after e-commerce influencers in the region. Now, that's not luck, that's Satori. Or take Emily. She comes back from maternity leave only to be demoted and handed a role she didn't sign up for. Disengaged, disempowered, ready to quit. But after joining our Strengthsify program for emerging leaders, she discovered her CliftonStrengths, owned her power, and learned to reframe her story. She didn't just stay, she rose. She became head of the department leading customer strategy. Today, she's an MD of a startup doing work that lights her up. And Aman is a startup leader who joined his team post-COVID, inherited a new, mostly remote squad with high targets and short timelines. He came to me not just for team development, but for a strategy. So what we did was we mapped out every team member's strengths, diagnosed the risk, and designed squad pairings and structures based on real data. The goal was to hit their 12-month project milestones. They crushed it in 9 months. This is the power of strengths-based leadership in action, when you stop guessing and start leading with insight. These are proof that the Satori attitude works. They all use Satori, whether they knew it or not. Now, before I show you how to shift from stuck to unstoppable, I just want to share this with you, because this is the heart of Satori. This is the moment I want you to feel, not just understand. This is why this work exists. It's called the Satori Manifesto. There comes a moment in every life where playing small starts to feel like dying slowly, where fitting in starts costing too much, where you wake up and wonder, is this really it? See, the world told you to fix your weaknesses, stay in your lane, be realistic. But here's the thing about people like us. We weren't built for lanes. We were built for runways. We were built for rising. Satori isn't just a mindset. Satori is a remembering that you are valuable. You are unique. And when you live like that, you are unstoppable. But here's what I invite you to explore. You don't find your voice, you become it. You don't earn your worth, you own it. And you don't wait for permission, you are the permission. That's what the Satori attitude is. Not just a framework, not just a strategy. It's a way for living, it's a way for leading, and it's a way for being. This is how you become Vu. And that's why I built the Satori roadmap, because becoming Vu doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. Let's walk through the 6th stage of Satori through the lens of career well-being. You are going to apply this live as we go. This is your starting point, and hopefully by the end of the day, you'll have a plan, a strategy to move forward with, not just motivation. Radical self-belief, and that means owning your full story, cracks and all. It's inspired by kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing with gold. So you don't hide your past, you highlight it. What this means for you? You are not broken. Your scars, emotional, personal, professional, are all proof of resilience. When you embrace your flaws and failures, you turn them into wisdom, power, and confidence. So just like Kintsugi, you don't need to hide your past. You need to own it and rebuild with strengths. Because in life, if you don't back yourself, no one else will. Here's a reflection. I want you to finish this answer because of ... challenges. I now ... Please go to your workbook and complete the reflection outlined on there. So here's an example using my own story as to what it could sound like. Because of my refugee past, childhood trauma, and an abusive relationship and being scammed, I now lead with radical empathy and an unshakable purpose. This is the story that sets the stage for your strengths. Now, we're going to move into awareness. Awareness is Ikigai in action. So stop pretending you don't know what excites you. You do. You just don't trust yourself enough to admit it. You can't navigate life blindfolded. So awareness is knowing who you are, what drives you, and what you truly want. Without awareness, you drift, but with it, you move with purpose and intent. Ikigai is the Japanese concept of reason for being. It's about aligning your passion, strengths, and contribution to the world. Awareness helps you connect these 4 pillars. Passion, fuel it. Profession, own it. Purpose, prove it. Profit, monetize it. So how do you unlock your Ikigai through awareness? Know what energizes you. Pay attention to moments when you feel the most alive. There's a reason behind them. Own your strengths. Stop second guessing the thing that comes most naturally to you. They're not random. They're your unique gifts. So be honest about what you want. Too many people live by expectations instead of purpose. Clarity is power. So go to your worksheet and complete your Ikigai statement. I use my strengths in profession to solve purpose through passion and get paid by bringing these values, and then you list your values. Remember, before you get paid for what you do, you got to know how you contribute and the value you bring. Now, talents into strengths, your superpowers. Having talent is nice, but talent alone is wasted potential. What makes a difference is when you turn those talents into strengths and use them daily. You are either using your strengths or wasting them. Why CliftonStrengths changes the game. You stop wasting energy on fixing weaknesses. You start leveraging what makes you brilliant. You see, strengths-based people are 6 times more engaged and productive because they work with their natural abilities, not against them. The most successful people don't try to be well-rounded. They become exceptional at what they do best. How do you activate your strengths? Well, first, you got to name it. What are your top 5 strengths? Don't know it? It's time to take the CliftonStrengths assessment. Claim it. Own your natural abilities instead of downplaying them, and then aim it. Find ways to apply them at work, in your relationships, and in your decision making. You don't need to fix your weaknesses. You need to unlock your natural wiring. So what I want you to think about is pick one of your top 5 strengths and finish this sentence. How can I use my strength more intentionally this week to shift my career momentum? The example would be, I use my maximizer to refine my CV and make sure it speaks to my true edge, not just responsibilities. Use a worksheet to explore this further. Now, opportunities. Stop waiting and start creating. Success isn't about luck. It's about positioning yourself to win. Most people sit around waiting for opportunities. The smart ones, they create them. Real talk, waiting is a trap. Creating, that's the move. So does your environment activate or suppress your strengths? Opportunities don't appear. You make them happen. So move, and here's your action. Where can I raise my hand, pitch an idea, or request a project that lights me up? Example, I'm putting my hands up to lead our onboarding process because it lets me use my empathy and systems thinking. Now, reimagine breaking free from small thinking. Every wildly successful person you admire had a moment when they chose to dream bigger than their circumstance. This is your moment in the context of your career. What if you stopped adjusting yourself to fit your role and started redesigning your job to fit you? Here's the truth. The biggest thing holding you back is your own limited vision. Ooh, let that one land for a second. Your vision, or rather how small you've been taught to keep it, that's what's in the way of you loving what you do. Now, you can't build a millionaire life with $1,000 mindset. It's time to reimagine what's possible for you. Here's your starting point. Look at your role, list down all of the things you hate about it, and then list down all of the things that you love about it. And here's the action. I want you to fill this in. I am no longer available for all the things that drains you. And then write, I am now choosing all of the things that excites you and lights you up. Once you have done this, what I invite you to do is have a look at your strengths and let me know what comes up. Finally, implement. Execution is everything. Most people stay stuck in learning mode, so they read books, watch loads of videos, waiting for the right time. But nothing changes until you implement. You don't get results from what you know, you get results from what you do. This is why most people fail at implementation. First of all, paralysis by analysis. You are overthinking instead of acting. The sheer fear of failure. You'd rather stay safe than risk looking foolish. Lack of accountability. If no one's watching, so you let yourself off the hook. Dreams, ideas, and visions mean nothing without the action. The world isn't changed by those who think about making a difference. It's changed by those who move, execute, and do the work. Let's reimagine what our world would be like if, for example, Simon Sinek never took action. Simon had an idea, start with why. He saw a pattern in how the most inspired leaders operated, but it was just that, a thought. He wasn't famous, he wasn't an authority figure, just a guy with an insight. What if he never implemented? There'll be no TED Talk, no Golden Circle framework, no movement on purpose-driven leadership. Millions of leaders and organizations will still be stuck, lacking clarity and failing to inspire. So the lesson, clarity without action is wasted potential. Now, what if Oprah Winfrey never took action? Oprah had a rough start, poverty, abuse, rejection, but she had a vision to use her voice to connect, uplift, and inspire. She could have easily stayed in journalism, playing it safe. What if she never implemented? No Oprah Winfrey show, no OWN network, which is the Oprah Winfrey Network, no billion-dollar empire that has helped millions worldwide step into their power. Women, especially women of color, would have one less role model proving that anything is possible. The lesson, the world doesn't change unless you decide to show up and make it happen. What if I never took action? Breaking free and rebuilding from trauma. My story could have been one of survival, not success. Born a boat refugee, carrying the weight of childhood trauma and an abusive relationship to being scammed. I had every reason to stay stuck, every reason to believe that life circumstances define my future. There was a moment when I had a choice, and by the way, that's every moment in life, where I put myself first, stay in the cycle of abuse, fear, limitations, or break free and take control of my life. Whatever I never implemented, there would be no Satori attitude, no impact helping people own their truth. The world will have one less person proving that trauma does not define your future. That's why it's all about taking action. Now, I'm no Oprah Winfrey and I'm no Simon Sinek. I am me, and to be honest, that's more than enough. I have a voice, and this is how I get heard, and this is how I get seen, and this is how I take my power back. If I can make an impact in my little corner of the world and have people rise up and stop playing small, then that's my contribution to the world. So before you take action, ask yourself, is it fast? This is about anchoring your intention. F is focus. What are you actually trying to shift or achieve? A, aligned. Does this reflect your strengths, values, and what matters most to you? S, strategic. Is this the right move or just busy work? T, time bound. What is your timeline or commitment? Satori isn't about hustle. It's about making moves that matter, being intentional with it. Let's have a look at my career pivot through the FAST framework. F, building my business around a purpose that scales impact. A, uses my strengths of maximizer, strategic, activator, relator, and adaptability to help others thrive. S, focusing on launching scalable framework like decoding your strengths, the Strengths and Ikigai Compass. And T, building the core offers and automate within 6 months' time. With the Satori attitude, you can apply it to the 5 elements of well-being, the non-negotiable for a thriving life. What we focus on today is just career well-being. Why? Because when your career thrives, you unlock time, energy, and the mental space to strengthen your social connections, your financial security, your physical health, your community impact. We'll revisit those in other programs, but everything starts here. Career is the foundation. Career is the catalyst. Because let's be honest, when work drains you, everything feels heavier. But when work works, when you're doing stuff that actually lights you up, life flows differently. In the context of your career, let's get cracking with you being more happy and fulfilled in your work. And if you are not, you can definitely use the Satori roadmap to get you to that place from being stuck to being unstoppable and loving what you do. Let's get you working on Satori in Action worksheet in the context of your career. Self-belief. What's the one limiting self-belief that is keeping you stuck? Awareness. Explore the 4 pillars of Ikigai. Start with what lights you up, your passion, the thing that's going to fuel you. Talents into strengths. Identify one of your Clifton strengths and answer, how can I use this strength more intentionally this week to shift my career momentum? Opportunities. Where can you raise your hand to do more of the work that you love? Reimagine. If you had 0 limitations, what would your ideal workday look like? And implement. What's the one action that will create the biggest shift for you right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Ready to take action? Choose your next move. Here are the options that you can take action today in order to shift you from being stuck to being unstoppable. Come and join us to Strengthsify your career workshop. This is going to be a live 2-hour roadmap session where we apply all of this in your career. You will walk away with your next move mapped out. Strengths and Ikigai Compass, your personalised clarity for aligning strengths to purpose and profit. And then join our Strengthsify tribe. This is ongoing access to exclusive strategies, monthly roadmap challenges, because thriving isn't a dream, it's a decision. And as a thank you for showing up today, here is a gift from me to you. Everyone here gets a free copy of my ebook, From Purpose to Profit, the Ikigai Strategy to Career Happiness. If you are looking for the rebel-fueled, badass version of this book, From Purpose to Profit, it is coming soon. Join the Strengthsify tribe to be the first to get it. If you felt stuck, overlooked, or underestimated, it's not because you are broken. It's because the system wasn't built for people like you to thrive. But it is your responsibility to learn how to navigate it so that you get unstuck. The Satori roadmap wasn't something I created from theory. It was forged through survival. My parents lived it as refugees. They didn't call it Satori, but they taught me how to show up, take action, and defy every limitation. So now I teach it as a strategy because I've lived every single part of it and I've applied it to every single area of my life. My parents, their journey inspired me to move to London, carve my own path, and build a life that's rooted in meaning. To this day, they're still showing me what it means to live with purpose. My dad runs a thriving gardening business. My mother is a seamstress with a gift in her hand. They're both in their 70s and have no plans to retire. Maybe, just maybe, that's what real success looks like. Doing work you love on your terms for as long as you choose. Not because you have to, but because you want to. This is the Satori attitude in real life, and now it's yours. This is your moment to stop settling, start leading, and finally align your career with who you truly are. If this resonated, don't just walk away inspired. Take action. Grab your Strengthsify career workshop seat. Download your Strengths and Ikigai Compass and join our Strengthsify tribe. Whatever you choose, choose you. All in. Unapologetic, because the world doesn't need the filtered version of you. It needs this version that's the real, powerful, strengths-fueled you. The Satori attitude is yours. Let's go make some noise. Make your next move. Till next time, may you live a life of abundance, power, freedom, and joy.